Yeah, I'm starting to record. Yeah, okay, this is it. So, first, as all the sessions we had, so we are going to start making a review about what we did the last session. Can you remember what we did or what we talked about the last session? Last weekend, last Saturday? Can you remember that topic? Yes or no? What we talked the last session that is related to morphology, no? Remember that this module is related to morphology. As I told you before, morphology is the study, no? Morph, no? Don't forget morph. Logy, morph, the form, logy, the study of the form of words, right? So we're going to study how to make words. How do we create words? No? The composition of a word. So last session we were talking about this special term, no? What is a word? Can you remember what is a word? What a word is? We saw many definitions, right? We saw several definitions. Can you remember
Yes.
some of them?
Yes, it will be a sound or group of sound that have or has a meaning.
Exactly, that's it, Lucy. This is one, no? One point of view, because we saw several points of view, no? One of them is the phonological criteria, no? According to the phonological criteria, a word is sounds, no? A group of sounds that we are going to join to create meaning. Uh-huh. What else? What else? Any other definition? Can you remember about any other definition of a word? Oh, Diana is in the waiting room. Okay, I accept Diana. No, nobody else? Nobody else? Tell me, please. Lucy says that a word is a combination of sounds, no sound or sounds, to produce meaning. Uh-huh. This is according to the phonological criteria. What about the orthographic criteria? Can you remember? The orthographic. No, 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 nobody. You can write it on the chat too. You cannot use your microphone, you can use the chat in order to write your definition. Orthographic. According to the orthographic, what is that? What is a word? No, no, nobody.
Is a sequence of letters, and you can use to make sentences.
Yeah, that's it. No, a sequence of letters divided by spaces, no? Spaces, blank spaces, and punctuation marks. No, this is according to the orthographic criteria, no? And when you make parts of elements of a sentence, we're talking about the syntactical criteria, no? So a word is an element which is the one of the parts of a sentence, no? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Very good. Orthographic, syntactical, phonological. What about, can you remember about the integrity criteria? According to the integrity criteria or morphological, no? According to the integrity or morphological criteria, what a word is? What is it? Can you remember? Notice that we are analyzing different concepts of word, no? Different concepts of word. Combination of sounds, phonological criteria. Letters, a group of letters divided by blank spaces and punctuation marks, orthographic criteria. It's an element to make a sentence, no? It's part of a sentence, the syntactical criteria. Now, what about the integrity or morphological criteria that is related to the topic of today? Morphology, morphemes. Today we're going to talk about it. Morphemes, morphological criteria. So according to the, I'm going to help you. According to the morphological criteria, a word cannot be divided. Can you remember? Yes? Cannot be divided. But remember that we saw some exceptions to the rule, no? So because this entity, it has a meaning, notice, that's why it cannot be divided. It's integral, all right? It cannot be split up. So that's why we say integrity criteria or morphological criteria, no? Because you cannot divide, and this is one characteristic of a morpheme. A morpheme cannot be divided, all right? Cannot be divided. It's just one, and it has a meaning. So notice here the different concepts that we analyze according to a word, no? Phonological, orthographic, integrity or morphological criteria. Then we have the syntactical criteria. Then we analyze also the semantic criteria according to the meaning of words. No, one word has one meaning, but here we have an exception when we have the compound nouns. No, compound nouns, we have two words with just one meaning. So what is a word? So according to the semantic, here this is a unit which has a meaning. So here notice when we analyze the definition of a word, we can define a word in different points of view or aspects of the language. No? According to these aspects of language, we can define a word. Today, we're going to talk about one of them that is related to the morphological criteria, that words are formed by using morphemes. This is the topic of today. Remember, each field or each branches of linguistics, no, each branch of linguistics has a unit. For example, phonetics, what is the minimal unit of phonetics? Can you remember? Remember when we talk about phonetics, what is the minimal unit of phonetics? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Phonetics. Then we pass to phonology. Now we are in morphology. Then we're going to pass to syntax. No? So, but here, phonetics, what is the minimal unit? Please tell me, tell me.
Phoneme or phone?
Aha, the phone. Excellent. That's it. Phoneme is the minimal unit of phonology. Remember, phonetics, phones. Phonology, phonemes. Morphology, morphemes. Notice here we have the branch and its unit, its minimal unit. Phonetics, phones. Remember, phone. What is a phone? It's a sound. Any speech sound produced by a human being. All right? Any speech sound. This is a phone. It's a physical aspect. No? It's the physical aspect of a sound. On the other side, phonology, the minimal unit of phonology is phonemes. What are the phonemes? These are the abstract aspects of a sound, not the physical. Notice phone, physical. Phoneme, abstract, what you have in mind. Try to remember this term because today we're going to talk about something similar. In morphology, we have similar terms. So try to remember phone, physical. Phoneme, abstract. So phonetics, the minimal unit of phonetics, phone. Minimal units of phonology, phonemes. And the minimal unit of morphology are the morphemes. Notice here, this is what we are going to talk about today, about the minimal unit of morphology. That is the module of this month, all right? So let's see. Let's start talking about these units. Notice here this graphic, morphemes. As you can see here, morphemes are related to the shapes of words, how we are going to form the word. Notice here these two words, These two words are composed by morphemes. Notice convention. Notice convention. It is divided in three parts. Convention. Vent is the root. That means coming. Con is a prefix. That means together. And ion is a suffix. That means the act of. So if you join the three meanings, the act of coming together. This is a convention. Notice here, how can we divide? And be careful. Here, this division is not related, and don't get confused. Oh, teacher, yeah, three syllables. No, 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 no. Yeah, don't forget it. We're not talking about syllables here. We are talking about parts of a word which have meaning. If we talked about syllables, each syllable doesn't have a meaning. All right? Syllables are parts of a word, yes, but related to sounds with no meaning. All right? With no meaning. So this is a syllable. So don't get confused. Don't think, oh yeah, convention. Oh yeah, three syllables, teacher. No, 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 no. These are not syllables. These are morphemes. So what is a morpheme? Notice the second word. Let's pass to the second word. Inventor. Vent, again, the meaning of vent is comes. In is a prefix, means upon. And or is a suffix that means the one who. So if you join the three meanings, you have just one, the one who comes upon. An inventor. Notice here, we are dividing the word into small parts, right? Into small parts. But each part, be careful with this and don't get confused with a syllable. Yeah, we are not dividing here the words into syllables. We are dividing the word here into morphemes. So each part, each morpheme has a meaning. Notice again, con means together. Ven means coming. Ion means act of. So each part has a meaning. So what is a morpheme? Can you tell me? What is a morpheme? You can write.
Is the minimal unit of the word
Yeah, all
or
right.
one part of the word
Yeah, okay, okay. It's a minimal unit. Yeah, but with a minimal unit
with meaning?
excellent. That's it. Remember, a morpheme, it's the smallest meaningful unit in a language. Remember that is the smallest meaningful unit of a language. Phones is a unit. Phone is a unit. Phoneme is a unit. Remember, as we talked before, what is the minimal unit of phonetics? Phone. What is the minimal unit of phonology? Phoneme. What is the minimal unit of morphology? Morpheme. But what is the difference between these three units? Phone, phonemes, and morphemes. What is the difference? The meaning. Phones or phonemes don't have meaning by themselves. For example, no, you produce a sound pa, 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 pa. Does it have a meaning? Does it have a meaning? No, right? Pa, pa. Bilabial, plosive, no? Voiceless. But it doesn't have a meaning. Pa, pa. No meanings. When we join these sounds, notice, when we join these meaningless units, we form a meaningful unit. I'm going to repeat again. We join this meaningless, so it means without meaning. When we join this meaningless unit, we produce meaningful units. So when we join these sounds, we are going to produce a unit with meaning. But somebody could tell me, but teacher, you told us last session in phonology, the phoneme is related to meaning. Yes, all right. A phoneme is a sound which gives meaning. Notice the difference. Yeah? A phoneme is a sound which gives meaning. It doesn't have meaning by itself. All right? It gives meaning because when you join the sounds, you are producing meaning. And when you change one sound to another sound, you change the meaning, no? Remember that we saw this example, no? When you say eat it, eat it. So you change one sound and you change the meaning of the word, right? So a phoneme, don't get confused. A phoneme is a unit which distinguishes or which gives meaning. But morpheme, it's a unit which has meaning. So, as I told you before, a morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit of a language. All right? Don't forget about it. Yeah? A morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit of a language. So, as we could see here on this diagram, in this picture, these words are divided into morphemes, not syllables, morphemes. Why do we call these parts morphemes? Because each part has a meaning, all right? Each part has a meaning. Con, ven, ion, each of these parts have a meaning. The same in the second word, no? In, vent, or. So you have a prefix, you have a suffix, and you have a root. Now remember, the root is the base of the word, no? The root. This is a bound root, a bound morpheme. Then we're going to talk about these terms, no? We have here bound morphemes. Why do we call bound morphemes? Because they cannot be alone. They cannot be alone in a word or in a sentence. It's not possible to write just con. No, it has a meaning, but it's not possible to write it alone. It needs another part. All right, it needs another part. So we call these kind of morphemes bound morphemes. So then we're going to talk about more about it, but in order to have a general idea, that bound morphemes, they cannot appear alone in a word or in a sentence. They need another part to appear as a word or in a sentence, as in these examples. No, vent alone is not possible. Ion alone is not possible. Or alone is not possible. Notice, but remember, each part has a meaning. But we call them bound morphemes because they cannot be alone. They need another part to appear in a word or in a sentence. So don't forget it. So let's continue talking about the morphemes. According to the morphemes, we have different type of words. Notice here, we have, if a word has just one morpheme, so we call these words simple words. Remember, with just one morpheme, simple words. As in the example, tree, cat, dog, house. Then we have another type of words that we call them complex words. Complex words, notice here we have a free morpheme plus a bound morpheme. We were talking about it. So if a bound morpheme cannot be alone, cannot appear alone as a word or in a sentence, on the other side we have the other free morpheme. So it means that they can be alone, as in the first example, no, the simple words. Simple words, we have free morphemes. They are free morphemes because they can be alone. They can appear alone. Tree, no, it can appear, right? You can write tree or cat or dog or house. So it's possible to write these words alone. They don't need another to be or to exist. You want to say, not to exist. They just have these three morphemes. The complex words are words which are composed by a free morpheme plus a bound morpheme. Notice here. So here we have examples. Boys, unhappy, usual, government. Why do we call here free a plus a bound morpheme? Because boy, notice, boy is a free morpheme. And then the letter S that you have here, because it's boys, notice, boys, boy is the free morpheme. And the letter S that indicates the plurality, no, remember? Boy, singular, boys, plural. So this letter S that you add is a morpheme too. This is another morpheme. Notice here, boy, boys. So it's just one word, but it has two morphemes, one free and the other bound. Yeah, so then we are going to talk about more of this. This is in order to have a general idea, all right, about words. Free morpheme plus a bound morpheme. And there are other types of words that are called compound words. What are the compound words? So we know, right? We know what is a compound word. So here we have two free morphemes. Notice, two free morphemes. Teacup. Tea and cup can appear alone, right? But in this time, they are together and they have just one meaning, no? It's just one word. But it's composed by two morphemes. Two free morphemes. Teacup, blackbird, carefree, boyfriend. Notice that it's a word, one word, but this word is composed by two morphemes. All right, two free morphemes. So notice here how we are going to make words using morphemes. You could use one morpheme or two morphemes. All right, two morphemes, we have free plus bound or free plus free. So this is the possible combinations. Huh? Free morpheme plus a bound morpheme, and on the other side, free morpheme plus another free morpheme. So notice here how we are going to make words using morphemes. Remember, what is a morpheme? It's the smallest meaningful unit in a language. No? It's the unit that has a meaning. The phone and phonemes are units too, but they don't have meaning. All right, they are meaningless. The unit which start having a meaning is the morpheme. Let's see, let's continue. Look at this word, yellow. Notice here how we are going to separate. Is it possible to separate this word like in the three examples below? Yeah, yellow, yellow, yellow. Is it possible to do that? With meaning, remember that we are not talking about syllables. Yeah, no syllables. Units with meaning. Is it possible to separate the word yellow into a smallest part, into small parts with meaning? Because if you're just teacher, we can separate, yeah, low, two syllables. Yeah, we can separate it, teacher. Yes, yes, it's possible to separate. But remember, we're not talking about syllables. We're talking about units with meaning. Can we separate these words into units of meaning or no? Tell me, please. Is it possible or not possible?
It's possible, but
Yeah? With meaning? Units with meaning?
yeah, yellow.
Remember, don't get confused. We're not talking about syllables. Yeah, we can separate, as I told you before, we can separate this word into two units. Yeah, low. Yes, teacher, two units, two syllables. All right. This word is composed by two syllables. Yeah, low. Because we have two vowel sounds, no? This is what we talked about in phonology, no? The number of syllables is related to the number of vowel sounds. Yeah, teacher, you told us. So we have two vowels, E, O. So it means that it has two syllables, two parts. Yes, but my question is, can we separate this word into units of meaning or units with meaning? Yeah. Notice that we are going to analyze this. Yeah, low, right? These are the two parts. Yeah, low. Yeah. The part yeah has a meaning and the part low has a meaning? No, right? Yeah, low. Yeah doesn't have a meaning. You're just joining sounds to produce a syllable, no? But remember, the syllable doesn't have meanings in most of the cases, no? There are some cases that you could say that it has meaning, but most of the cases it doesn't have a meaning because just joining sounds, no? How you pronounce the word, giving the correct stress, no? If a word has 2, 3 syllables, one of these part is going to be stressed, but it doesn't mean that they have meaning. Notice, yellow is not possible to be divided. But when we are talking about units of meaning, remember, units of meaning. I'm not talking about the units of pronunciation, no. Units of meaning. So this word is composed by just one unit with meaning. So it means that it has just one morpheme. It is one morpheme, one word, because it has just one meaning. This word doesn't have two meanings, three meanings, right? Yes? Yes or no? Oh, what happened? I cannot listen to you. You're not writing in the chat, please. Tell me that you are there. If not, I would think that I'm talking to ghosts. Just Lucy and Zoraida, I think they are answering my questions. What about the others? You can use the chat. Don't forget it. Use the chat to answer, to participate. So notice here, the word yellow is not divisible. Remember, this is what we're talking about, the criteria of integrity, that a word cannot be divided because it just has one meaning. And remember, this word cannot be divided because it has just one meaning, one unit, one morpheme. All right? So don't forget, and don't get confused. Forget about phonology. We're not talking about sounds. We're talking about meanings, units with meaning, because this is a morpheme. The morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language. And yellow is just one unit with meaning. It doesn't have two units of meaning. Now, let's see another example. What about the word dogs? Okay, now it's your turn. Please, tell me. Can we divide the word dogs?
Yeah, in this case, yes, teacher, because one morpheme is dog and the S is another morpheme.
Excellent, Lucy. Diana on the chat. All right, very good, Diana. Excellent. So here, the word dogs, notice, yellow is one word. Dogs is one word. Yellow, I'm going to write here. I'm going to write it in order to emphasize. Yellow has just one morpheme. That is one word. Remember, it's one word. So yellow is one word, yeah, but at the same time, it's one morpheme. All right? Excellent, Diana. That's it. It's a complex word, dogs, no? Dogs. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So notice the word yellow is just one word and just one morpheme. But the word dogs is one word. Notice one word is not a word, one word, but with two morphemes. Dog and the letter S. Teacher, come on. The letter S. What is the meaning of the letter S? Can you tell me what is the meaning of the letter S?
It's a grammatical morpheme because you can recognize if it's plural or
Singular.
it's singular.
That,
Yeah.
that's it. Excellent, Lucy. Excellent. Lucy today got 20. All right, yes. Notice the letter S. You could say, but teacher, the letter S? What's the meaning of the letter S? Can we give a definition of the letter S? No, it's not possible to give a definition of the letter S, no? Dog has a definition. Oh, it's an animal, no? With four legs and a tail, no? And is usually a pet. So the word dog has a meaning, a definition, a concept. But the letter S, can you define the letter S? No, right? You cannot define the letter S, but it has a meaning. But what kind of meaning? Grammatical meaning. Dog has a lexical meaning. Notice the difference. Lexical, grammatical. Then we're going to talk about, as Lucy says, no? Lexical morpheme, grammatical morpheme. Free morpheme, notice dog is a free morpheme and the S is a bound morpheme because it cannot appear alone, right? Can you write just the letter S? No, it's not possible, right? But dog, can you write dog as a word? Yes. So this is a free. Notice, free, bound, lexical, grammatical. So the letter S has a grammatical meaning. What is the grammatical meaning? Plurality. It indicates in this context plurality because this letter S is special because you could use it to indicate plurality, but also you could use it to indicate the present simple third person singular, no, in verbs. Helps, he helps, she leaves, no, she watches. S or es, no, you use, mostly you use the S, in some cases you use the es, no, but notice this morpheme has a grammatical meaning. So a morpheme could have a lexical meaning or a grammatical meaning. So notice here, this word, because it's just one word, okay, it is a word, one word, but it has two morphemes. Notice the difference in order not to get confused, because sometimes you could say, morpheme is a word. So here, one word, one morpheme. No. You could make words with one morpheme, no, three morphemes, but there are other words that it's composed or that are composed by using two morphemes or three morphemes. All right. So notice here, what is the difference between a word and a morpheme? You may word using morphemes. They are not the same, all right? They are not the same. A word and a morpheme are not the same. Some cases you use one morpheme to make one word, and there are other cases that you use more than one morpheme to create a word. All right? For example, you have happy. I'm going to write it here. Another example. Happy. Now, this is a word. It has just one morpheme. All right? Happy. Two syllables, but one morpheme. Notice, don't get confused. We're not talking about syllables. We're talking about units with meaning. All right? So happy has just one morpheme. It's a free morpheme. But this happy, we can add some other parts, no? We could add here unhappy. Oh, sorry. Oh. I'm going to erase it. Yeah. So I'm going to write it again. Unhappy. Notice you have this. Unhappy. It's again one word. It's not two words, right? It is not two words. It's one word. But this word has two morphemes. Unhappy. What is the meaning of un? Teacher, what's the meaning of un? It's a prefix, right? What is the meaning of un? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? What is the meaning of un? Unhappy.
Is not happy.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. The meaning of un is no, not unhappy. Notice here, unhappy. So this un has a meaning. Notice this un, this prefix, this morpheme, this vowel morpheme has a meaning. What is the meaning? Not happy. No, unhappy is not happy. All right, not happy. And notice, in order to get clear, what is a morpheme? Remember, a morpheme, and then we are going to analyze these definitions. A morpheme, it's a unit with meaning. Remember, a unit with meaning. The smallest meaningful unit in a language. Now, let's continue talking about morphemes. So, morphology is the study of the smallest meaningful units in a language. So, this is morphology. Remember, morphology studies the smallest meaningful units in a language. Boy, boys, as we saw, it has two parts, two meanings. There are a set of words that can be built up by adding certain meaningful elements to a core element, not to the root. Remember, core element is similar to say the root of a word. Notice this example, the word use. Use. Notice, with this word, we can create more words by adding parts. You add parts and you create more words. So this is the core. This is the root. Remember, the root is use. Now you could add here user, used, unused, unusual, unusually. Notice here how can we create words just with one root. Adding, notice adding some parts before and after the root. All right, you add some parts before the root and after the root er or ed or d or o or oli. Notice here the parts that you are going to add to the root. Remember, use is the root. Yeah, no, don't forget here, use is the root. And with this root, we can create more words. All right, use is the root. So user, oh yeah, you add the er. No, this is a famous suffix to convert verbs to nouns, no, especially to refer to people, no. Teach, teacher. Use, user. So you make a verb into a noun, and these nouns are referring usually to people, no. You use er, or, no. So you can use paint, painter. All right. So notice here, but there are other ones, no. So for example, the ist, no, art, artist. So you don't have just the ER, no? You have OR, IST, no? So you use these suffixes or morphemes. Remember, these are morphemes because they have meanings. What kind of morphemes are they? Bound morphemes because they cannot be alone, right? User, ER. It's not possible to write ER as a word. It's not possible, right? So it needs another part to create it to make as a word. No? You can create a word. All right, so don't forget what is a morpheme, the smallest meaningful unit in a language, and morphology studies them. Bloomfield, a famous linguist, stated that a morpheme can be defined like a small meaningful unit of a language. Now, this is what we're talking about. Morphemes, notice here, this is very important. Morphemes can be divided in other smaller units, but these parts don't have meaning. This is what we talked about before, no? Ah, teacher, yes, yellow. It has two parts, yellow. Yes, but these two parts, notice yeah and low, they don't have meaning by themselves. Huh? If you join the two part yellow, yeah, it has a meaning. But if we separate in yeah and low, yeah doesn't have a meaning. Low doesn't have a meaning. Notice here. But if you join it, they have a meaning. So here says, morpheme can be divided into smaller units, so sounds, but they don't have meaning. Notice here, morpheme, man. Phonemes, notice, man, it's a morpheme, and the morpheme can be divided in parts, which are the phonemes. So man is composed by a, three units, but each unit doesn't have a meaning. Doesn't have a meaning. A doesn't have a meaning. Doesn't have a meaning. So notice that you can divide morphemes, but these parts, these small parts, don't have meaning. So we could say that a morpheme cannot be divided into smallest meaningful units. No, it's not possible to do that. No, according to the morphological criteria, no. So morphemes cannot be divided into smaller meaningful units. You can divide a morpheme into smaller meaningless units. All right, because each unit are meaningless. Each of them, no? Each of them. If we join the three, yes, we create meaning. But if we separate the three, they don't have meaning. All right? So don't forget about it. While a word can occur freely by itself, a morpheme may or may not be able to. Notice the difference between a word and a morpheme. A word can be written, can appear free, all right, by itself. On the other side, a morpheme can be alone or not. That's why we call here free morpheme and bound morpheme. Free morpheme can appear alone. Bound morpheme, not alone. It needs another part to appear as a word. That's why here it says, no, a morpheme may or may not be able to appear freely as a word. For example, here you have these words, no? Man, head, house. You could write in as a word free, no? You don't need any other part. Man can appear alone, head can appear alone, house can appear alone. They don't need other parts to appear as a word. But there are other morphemes cannot occur by themselves. They have to be combined with other morphemes to form a word. So here you have this, one of the most common, no? The famous ending or suffix ER. It's not possible to write ER alone. right? ER. No, it's not possible to write it as a word, right? So they cannot appear freely. You need to insert other part. Taller. Oh, that's it. Notice ER appears, no? Appears as a word, no? Part of a word. Taller. So they need a free morpheme or another bound morpheme to appear as a word or inside a word. Notice the difference. Notice the difference because sometimes we confuse. Morpheme words. They are words. Yeah, there are some cases that we could say words are morphemes if they are free morphemes. But a morpheme, there are some morphemes that cannot be alone. So it's not possible to say that all morphemes are words because some words are composed by 2 or 3 morphemes together. So notice the difference between morphemes and words. For example, notice this sentence. Here we're going to analyze this sentence. Yeah, this is a sentence. It's not a meaning. The word library has 3 syllables. This is a sentence. Remember, this is a simple sentence. The word library has 3 syllables. So we could say that this sentence is composed by 6 words, right? Yes, it is composed by 6 words. The first word is da, second word is word, the third word is library, the fourth word is has, the fifth word is 3, and the sixth word is syllables. All right? So this sentence is composed by 6 words. But this sentence is composed by 8 morphemes. Notice there are 6 words in the sentence, but we have 8 morphemes. So let's see it again. One morpheme, the second morpheme, word, the third morpheme, library, and notice what happens with the verb has. Has is composed by 2 morphemes. Notice here, oh, teacher, how is it possible? Has 2 morphemes? It's not just one. Then we're going to analyze it. Here the word 3, 1 morpheme, the 6th morpheme, and the word syllables is composed by 2. Excellent. That's it, Diane. That's it, Diane. So the verb has, let's talk about the verb has. What happened with the verb has? Has is composed by 2 morphemes. Why? Because the root, what is the root? The basic form of this word is have. Have is the root, the base word. But you change it to has, it means that you add the letter S to indicate that this is present simple, third person, singular. So you change the word to have to has. So it has 2 components. The root, that is have, plus the S to indicate present simple, third person singular. That's why we have 2 morphemes. Notice this word has 2 morphemes, all right? So you're repeating the word. Has 2 morphemes, all right? Because it has 2 units with meaning. Have, have. What is the meaning of have? To possess, to own, no? And what is the meaning of the letter S? Grammatical meaning. Remember that we talked about 2 kind of meanings, lexical meaning and grammatical meaning. Lexical meaning, have, to possess, to own. This is the lexical meaning. And the other, the letter S, it doesn't have a lexical meaning. It has a grammatical meaning. Oh, what is the grammatical meaning? Present simple. It indicates present simple, third person, singular. All right? So that's why we could say that it has two morphemes. Notice, two morphemes. One word. Now, in order to differentiate it with syllables, has, it's one word. Has one syllable. All right. The word has one syllable, one word, one syllable, but two morphemes because it's composed. This word is composed by two meanings. All right, two meanings. And then the final word, syllables, as Diana wrote it in the chat. It's perfect. It is perfect. Syllable, singular, plus the S. Again, notice SS. But in the first case is present simple, and in the second case is plurality. What is the grammatical meaning? Plurality. It indicates plurality. That's why this word has two meanings. Notice, two meanings, two morphemes. So here you can see that a word is not similar to a morpheme. All right? Words and morpheme are not the same. We make words by using morphemes. You could use one morpheme, two morphemes, three morphemes, and so on. No, it depends, no? The parts that you could add to a word. All right? So notice the difference between words and morphemes. Let's continue. Oh, I'm going to raise my drawings. Yeah, okay. Morphemes, notice here, and this is what we're talking. Morphemes don't have a relation with number of syllables, remember? Yeah, don't get confused with syllables in order to separate words. No, yeah, teacher, yes, this word could be separated in 2 3 parts, no? Yeah, low, teacher, teach, teacher. So here you have to go to syllables, no? But notice they are not referring to syllables. Look at the example. The word table has two syllables, all right? Table, table, two syllables. But it has just one morpheme. Table, one meaning, one morpheme. And notice the difference between syllables and morphemes. Don't get confused. When we separate words and when we divide or when we split up words into smaller parts, so we can divide it by the pronunciation that is related to syllables or by their meaning that is referred to morphemes. All right? Another example, teams. Teams. Notice it's just one syllable, just one syllable, but we have two morphemes. Team, that is the free morpheme, and the S, that is the bound morpheme, with grammatical meaning, plurality. All right? So team has a lexical meaning, a group of people, no? A team who work together, who play together. All right? This is a team, lexical meaning. But the S that we add to team to indicate plurality, grammatical meaning. All right? So notice the difference between syllables. Don't get confused. Syllables and morphemes. They don't have a relation. All right? They are not related. They have a different aspects of analysis. Syllables are related to sounds by it themselves. And morphemes are related to meanings. Don't get confused. Let's see more examples. Here you have the word cat. Cat, it is just one word, one morpheme. cats, notice, cats, one word, so it's the same number of word, no? Cat or cats, one word. But you change the number of morphemes. Two morphemes. Cats, one word, two morphemes. The ed, notice here, the famous ed to make the past simple, right? Regular verbs. Ed, it's not a word. Remember, ed is not a word, but it's a morpheme. Notice here the difference. Ed, the famous ed, it's not a word, but it's a morpheme with grammatical meaning. Why do we call it a morpheme? Because it has a meaning. This part has a meaning. What is the meaning? The grammatical meaning. It indicates past simple. Notice that's why we call this part a morpheme. An, the prefix an, it's not a word, all right? This is not a word, but it's a morpheme because it has a meaning. This part has a meaning. What is the meaning? Not. Notice here the difference between words and morphemes. A morpheme could be a word or not. Notice here, a morpheme could be a word, as in the example before. No, cats are words. They are morphemes. But ed and an, they are not words, but they are morphemes because they have meanings. All right, so don't forget. Don't forget what's the difference between morphemes and words. We use morphemes to create words. Don't forget about it. Okay, let's pass to some exercises here. And you're going to tell me, I want you to participate. Let's see. Words. The moon understood is and but went gone. The. How many morphemes does the word the has and how many syllables? Help me, please. Help me. How many morphemes? The. How many? How many?
One morpheme.
One morpheme. Yes. We have just one morpheme. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, my battery. My battery is running out. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. One morpheme. Da. How many syllables? Aha, Yolanda,
One.
Diana, very good. Lucy,
One
yes.
syllable.
One syllable. Notice one syllable. All right. So notice the word the, that is an article, it has just one morpheme and it has just one syllable. So here we have an agreement between the number of syllables, the number of morphemes. What about the word moon? How many morphemes? Moon. Diane, Yolanda, that's good, that's good. Use the chat. Where is Carlos, Andre? I don't know, where are they? Mari, Ruth. Oh, we have two Ruth. No? Zoraida, Yuri. What about the men? Where are they? All right, one morpheme. No? So here we have one morpheme. How many syllables? How many syllables? One again, no? One again. No? So again, here we have the same number of morphemes and the same number of syllables. What about the word understood? How many morphemes do we have in the word understood? How many morphemes? Understood. One, two, three. How many? How many?
Two morpheme.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes? I don't know what happened with my laptop. No sé qué pasó,
Yes.
me cortó, me botó del Zoom.
Yes.
Okay, okay, all right, all right. Yeah, can you see what I'm sharing or no? Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, okay, well, I
Yeah.
think there's a technical problem with my laptop. I don't know what happened. The Zoom threw me out. All right. Okay, okay. So let's continue. Well, I'm going to write it again. Yeah, so here we have one morpheme. No, that one morpheme. Here it happens again, one morpheme. Moon, the same, one morpheme and one syllable. So, understood. Lucy told me two morphemes. Do you agree with Lucy? Two morphemes. Yes or no?
Two morphemes.
Aha, that's it. Yeah, two morphemes. Yes, two morphemes. And how many syllables? Yes, Diane. Three syllables. No, notice there is no relation with the number of morphemes and the number of syllables. There are sometimes though we can have the same number of morphemes and number of syllables. No? Understood. Why do we say that it has two morphemes? Sorry. Why? Why do we say that understood has two syllables? Or two morphemes, sorry, two morphemes. Why?
Because under is a prefix and it has a mean, a special mean is below,
Yeah.
and the other word is the root.
Stood. Uh-huh. Yeah, it could be taken like this, but it's not. Uh-huh. Understood. Yeah, what Lucy says, yeah, it seems to be or seems to have logic, no? Under, yeah, it's a preposition, and stood, the past tense of stand, no? Yeah, understood. Yeah, two morphemes, but it's not correct. So here, what is the verb? Understand, huh? Understand. Understand, understood. So you have the root is understand. And you use the past simple irregular and you change it to understood. So here it means that you have two morphemes. Understand plus the past simple or the past participle. No, it could be the past simple of the past participle. So that's why we say that it has two morphemes. Understand is the root. Oh, understood, it's the past simple. So it means that it has understand plus the past simple. Here we don't have ed, no? Notice that we don't have ed, but we have another kind of morpheme. There's the zero morpheme. We use here the conversion, no? When you change the word, all right? So don't forget about it. Another example with nouns, for instance, this is for verbs. With nouns, no? Person, people. Notice that we don't have the regular plural, no? We have the irregular plural, and we change the word, but it has two morphemes, person plus the plural, people. Similar to this, understand plus the past simple or past participle, two morphemes. And then you have the three syllables. What about is? How many morphemes do we have in the word is? How many? How many? Aha, Yolanda says one
One.
morpheme. One morpheme, says Diane. One, are you sure? One. Are you sure that it has just one morpheme? You use is with all the pronouns? When do you use is? Oh, my connection again. Can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? Tell me, I think my internet connection is not working well. I receive a message that is unstable. Can you listen to me? Yes?
Yes, teacher. Yes, we listen.
Okay, okay. Tell me, please, if you cannot listen to me because here I received some messages that my connection is not stable. It's unstable. And that's why I think a few minutes ago I was thrown out of the room. Yeah? So please tell me, teacher, we cannot listen to you or we cannot watch because I think my connection is not so good today. Yeah? Yeah. So we were talking is. My question to you is, do we use is for all the pronouns? What is the base form of this verb? Is the base form? The base form of this
No,
verb?
it's not that. No,
Yeah, the base
no.
form.
We use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell me.
we use this to the third person, to he, she, it. Yeah.
Eh, exactly, that's it. So it is just one morpheme?
In this case, no, no.
Yeah, it's not one morpheme because as Diana wrote in the chat, the base form of this verb is be, the verb be. This is the base form, be. But be is divided, it's composed by three forms. Is, are. And why do we do that? Because of the singular third person, no? As Lucy says, is used with a third person singular. So it means that it has another meaning. It's be plus the third person singular. So we have two morphemes. Remember, we have here two morphemes. Be plus the third person singular. For example, if we talked about yeah, it's be plus the first person singular, I, no? Are, when do we use are? Oh, yeah, this is for plural. Most of them is plural, no? In third person. And also you, that is also used in singular, no? Third person. So notice, it has two morphemes. The verb be, that is the root, plus the third person singular. All right? So here we have two morphemes. What about the number of syllables? Here you have just
Just one.
exactly one syllable. Two morphemes, one syllable. What about an? An. How many morphemes? Aha, Yolanda, Diana says one. One. Everybody agrees with that? One morpheme? Diane, a prefix. No, 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 no. This is not a prefix. It's the article. An apple. An orange. It's not a prefix. It's the article. Indefinite article. An apple. An orange. An hour. Yolanda, that's it. It's the article. It's not a prefix. So one morpheme. Everybody agrees? One morpheme?
No, I think it's two because we use it has a grammatical use to indicate the gender of the word.
Yeah, not exactly the gender, no? It is more related to the sounds, no? The sounds. An apple. Why do we use an? Because it's followed by the vowel sound, right? An hour, it's followed by another vowel sound. Remember the vowel sounds, not letters. Yeah, not letters, vowel sounds. Oh, again. My internet connection. Can you listen to me? Yes. Tomorrow I need to call to Movistar. What's going on? What's happening? My connection, I think, is unstable today. Yeah, so yes, here we have two morphemes. Why? Because the root, what is the root? Is the article. But there are some cases that we are going to use an because of the vowel sound that is followed. All right? So we have two. Here we're using this an, a plus a phonological rule. No, here you have a phonological rule. So that's why we could say that it has two morphemes, no one, two, because the root, the base word, it's a. All right, and we have a variant that is an. All right, an. Don't forget about it. And how about the syllables? What? How many syllables?
One, only one.
One, yes. In this case, we have just one. What about the word but? But. How many morphemes? How many morphemes? But
One.
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 Just one. And the number of syllables?
Same one.
One. Excellent. What about went? The word went. How many morphemes? Excellent, Yolanda. That's it.
Yeah,
So we
two.
have
Yeah, it's okay, two.
yes, two morphemes. How many syllables? Excellent, Diane. That's good, Diane. One syllable. Yes, you're right. You got it. So now you're understanding what's a morpheme and what is a word. And the difference between a word and a syllable and morphemes. Yes, we have two morphemes because we have go plus the past simple, right? Go, that is the root, and the past simple. So we have two morphemes. We don't have here ed again because this is an irregular verb, no? This is an irregular verb. So we call this a zero morpheme because we cannot see the morpheme exactly, no, graphically, as in the ed, no? Visit, visited, yes, visit, and ed. This is past, no? This is graphically, so we can see it. But here, no, we cannot see it. Oh, where's the ed? No, there is no ed. Yeah, but this is an irregular form, no? So we we call this conversion, remember? Yeah, don't forget about it. So we have two morphemes. Gone. What about gone? It's similar, no? This is the same.
See, two. Two
Two
morpheme,
morphemes.
two signals.
Two syllables? Are you sure,
Well,
Lucy?
I don't know.
One
No,
syllables,
only
huh?
one.
Yes, one syllable, yes. Two morphemes again, go, that is the root, go, plus the past participle. Notice, go, went, gone. We have one word, but go, one word, one morpheme, went, two morphemes, gone, two morphemes. Notice here the difference between words and morphemes. All right, let's continue. Let's pass to the other slide. Now we are going to analyze different terms related to morphemes. We have these terms, monemes, morphs, and allomorphs. That's why I told you the last class and at the beginning of the class to remember the difference between phonemes, and allophones, because we're going to have a relationship with these words, monemes, morphs, and allomorphs. Allophones, allomorphs. So we have a similar idea. Yeah, here, let's start talking about the duality of patterning. We have two articulations. Remember, in a language, we have two types of articulation. We have here, this dog is sick. So we have the first articulation that is related to the syntagmas and monemes or lexemes and morphemes. And the second articulation that is the lowest level related to sounds, phonemes. Notice here, that's why we said before that a morpheme could be divided in smaller parts. These parts are the second articulation. And the bigger part is called the first articulation, syntactical units or morphological units. No, if you notice, syntactical because they are parts or elements in a sentence, or the units which have meaning. No, we call the lexemes and morphemes, and we call them monemes. Notice, monemes. So in the second articulation are just the smaller parts, not the sounds. We divide it into small parts, sounds but without meaning. Notice, in the second articulation, we have the meaningless units. I'm going to write it here. In this second articulation, we have meaningless, meaningless units in the second articulation. In the first articulation, we have meaningful units. Meaningful units. And don't forget about the difference. In the first articulation, we work with meaningful units. In the second articulation, we work with meaningless units. It means in a language, we could use meaningless units to create meaningful units. We have a set of meaningless units. No, when we talk about phonemes, we have in the English language, for example, we have approximately or about 42 phonemes. No, with these 42 phonemes, which are meaningless, we can create a huge quantity of meaningful units. Yes or no? With this set of meaningless units, which are the sounds, we can create an enormous quantity of meaningful units because we can join sounds and we are creating words. We are creating morphemes, and we use morphemes, we create words. And when we join words, we create sentences or statements or utterances. Utterances, remember, what's the meaning of utterance? It's the spoken sentence. Yeah? Utterances are the spoken sentence. Don't forget about it. And this is the utterances. So here, notice, that's why we call this, remember, we call this the duality of patterning or double articulation language. No? This is related to this. It means, remember, it means that we could use a reduced group of meaningless units to create a huge quantity of meaningful units. That's why we call this the double articulation. So, morphemes, as we have seen before, are the smallest linguistic units which have meaning. Remember that. They have signifier and signified. and formed part of the first articulation. Remember, they form part of the first articulation because we're talking or we're working with meanings. Notice here the example, no? The sign, it's composed by the signifier, the signifier book. Notice we have here the sounds, the combination of sounds and letters. So this is the signifier and the image, and the signifier is the meaning, a written or printed work consisting of pages bound in covers. So when we talk about morphemes, we have this signifier and signify, because it is composed by sounds, phonemes, and it has a meaning. All right, the second articulation and the first articulation. So notice here something related to morphemes. And remember, the smallest linguistic units which have meaning. Monemes, what about the word monemes? Monemes are called morphemes by American linguistics. Now don't forget about it, not to get confused. Morphemes is the general term. Some people, the American linguistics especially, call these morphemes monemes. Morphemes can be two types: lexical morphemes and grammatical morphemes. Notice this is what we were talking about before, no? Lexical morphemes and grammatical morphemes. In linguistics, these smallest meaningful units are called morphs. Remember this word, morphs. Oh, just give me a second. Morphs. Remember, we call these smallest meaningful units morphs. And classes or categories of similar morphs are called morphemes. And remember this, morphs and morphemes. This is something related to phones and phonemes. Morphs are related to the realization of the morpheme, the physical realization of the morpheme. Morpheme is the abstract part, all right? The abstract part. Morphs are the realization. So the classes or categories of similar morphs are called morphemes. And remember these terms. Morphemes, as you could see here, are not tangible, are abstract types that we assume exist because of how morphs patterns in languages as they are used by speakers. So notice, morphemes is the abstract part, the physical realization, the materialization, if you could say that, the materialization of a morpheme is the morph. Yeah, remember that word, morphs. I'm going to emphasize it. Morphs. Yeah, remember, morphs are the physical part. Morphemes are the abstract. Remember, they are not tangible, abstract types that we assume it exists because it is used by speakers. As I told you, morphs are the materialization of morphemes. Morphs are the materialization of morphemes. Morphs are to morphemes what phones are to phonemes. This is what I told you before. No, when we talked about phonology, we differentiate three terms. No, phones, phonemes, allophones. Something similar happens with morphology. We have morphs, morphemes, and allomorphs. And notice here, the phone and morph are the physical aspect. Phoneme and morpheme are the abstract aspect, and the allophone and allomorphs are the variations of the morpheme or the phoneme, physical variations of the phoneme or the morpheme. So let's continue. Notice here the difference. We are going to analyze it in a table, right? So we have these three terms. Remember, morphemes, morphs, allomorphs. Morphemes, it's only a concept, abstract. Remember, abstract. They usually have grammatical information. Morphs, it's the materialized morpheme. Morph is a phonetic, notice, is a phonetic expression of that category or concept. The allomorphs, notice here, the allomorphs, they are variants that a morph has in the phonetic level. Notice here the difference between these three terms: morphemes, morphs, and allomorphs. Morphemes, abstract. Remember, I'm going to write it here in simple words. Remember, morphemes are abstract. Morphemes are abstract. Morphs, physical. All right? Allomorphs, physical variations. The allomorphs are physical variations of a morpheme. Of a morpheme. Physical variations of a morpheme. Okay? So notice here the three terms related to morphemes. Morphemes is the general, the general idea, the concept, the abstract thing. Morphs is how you use it, how you use this morpheme. The physical aspect, the materialization of the morpheme. And it is indicated mostly in the phonetic aspect, in a phonetic expression. And the allomorphs are the variants, physical variations. That's why here it says on a phonetic level, all right? Physical variations of the morpheme. So notice here you have another scheme. Morphemes, they have grammatical information. Morphs are related to the phonetic expression. Allomorphs, the variants of morphs or morphemes. So here you have this scheme differentiating these terms, no? Morphemes, morphs, allomorphs. Let's see here some analysis. Now here you have a sentence. These boys lived happy. Morphemes. Notice here that we have the morphemes. Boy, we have the signified is a string of phonemes, which means young person. Then we have the letter S, express plural number. Live means live, and ed express past tense. Notice that we are here differentiated the morphemes. No? Notice that we have different morphemes. Boy is a free morpheme. Live is a free morpheme. These are lexical morphemes. And then we have the two grammatical, the letter S, plurality, and the ed, past tense, grammatical. So we have lexical and grammatical morphemes. This is what we're talking, no? Morphemes or monemes are divided into lexical morphemes that are called lexemes. Notice here, lexemes, and grammatical morphemes that are morphemes. We call this morphemes. So we have lexemes and morphemes. Lexemes because they have a lexical meaning, all right? They are lexical morphemes. And morphemes because they carry grammatical meaning. or grammatical morphemes. Notice here, look at this table, lexical morphemes and grammatical morphemes. Lexical morphemes, notice here, lexical morphemes are basically nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives or whole words. The example, violin, play, big, no? They refer things, actions, states, and qualities. So these are the lexical morphemes. Notice, lexical morphemes are noun, verbs, adverb, adjectives, or whole words. And they refer to things, actions, states, and qualities. What about grammatical morphemes? Grammatical morphemes are formed by suffixes, prefixes, particles, and prepositions. These are grammatical morphemes. Notice, grammatical morphemes. The suffixes, the prefixes, the particles, and prepositions. Suffixes, we have the ing, the letter s. Prefixes, we have an, this, ear. Particles, we have not, so. And prepositions, we have all, for, to. So notice here, which are the grammatical morphemes. If you notice, we could summarize and say that they are related to the function words, no? Because we talk about prepositions. Here we have the conjunctions, no? So they are related to this, grammatical morphemes. They have a grammatical meaning. Lexical morphemes can have derivation. What is derivation? It's a process which generates new words from others. Notice derivation. This is one process of how to make words using derivation. So we have here some examples, no? Violin, violinist. Play, player. And they belong to open classes, no? Remember, can you remember what is referring to open class? What does it mean, open class? Oh, Yolanda, you wrote something, example? Example of what? Of lexical, grammatical? Yolanda? Yolanda, are you there? Sorry, I just saw your message. Example of lexical and grammatical, yes? Okay, yeah. Here you have this lexical, as you can see here, the examples, no? Violin, play, big, small, nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, yeah, happily, happy. So these are lexical morphemes. Grammatical morphemes are the suffixes, prefixes, suffixes, ing, s, ed. These are the suffixes, er, or. So these are the suffixes. Prefixes, we have an, this, ear. So we have these prefixes before the root. Particles, we have not, so, and prepositions, all, for, to, conjunctions too, no? But. So here we have these grammatical morphemes. Derivation, notice derivation, you have the example here. Violin, violinist. Play, player. Notice you are creating words. You are creating words. When we call about, or when we talk about derivation, most of the time we change the type of word or we change the meaning of the word. For example, violin is the object, no? Violin is the object. You add ist, violinist, and you change the meaning, no? From object to person. The person who plays the violin, right? So you change the meaning. Notice, you don't change that type of word because it's a noun. Violin and violinist, it's a noun. But you change the meaning from person No, from thing to a person. No, violin is the object, the thing. You add ist and you change it, or you talked about a person. All right, so you're changing the meaning. Or the other, that you change the type of word. Play. Notice play is a verb, right? Play, the verb. Player is a noun. So now here you're changing the type of word. Notice you're changing the type of word. So that's why we call this derivation. So we are using, notice this is another name for these morphemes, derivational morphemes. The IST and ER are called derivational morphemes because we use it to change meaning, or we use them to change the type of word. Derivational morphemes or lexical. Here, notice that we are going to use these derivational morphemes to create more lexical morphemes. Now, let's pass to the grammatical morphemes. Grammatical morphemes, they don't undergo derivation, even they aren't affixes which mark derivations themselves. We don't find final derivation from that, of, for, it. We cannot derive this word to another word, right? The prepositions, conjunctions, we cannot change. Adding other parts, we cannot change that type of word, or we cannot change the meaning of these words, right? Of is not possible to add before or after of anything, right? You don't have to add anything. So that's why we say that they don't have derivation. Grammatical morphemes don't have derivation. Lexical morphemes, they have derivation. Another, lexemes belong to open or unlimited classes. Now, this is one of the questions that I asked you before. No, open class. We talked about this the last session. No? Open class means that you can create more and more and more and more words through the time. Unlimited. That's why here says unlimited. So you can create more and more and more words. All right. That's why we call these words open class words. They mean there is no limit on the number of nouns, number of verbs, number of adjectives. We can create more nouns, more verbs, more adjectives. On the other side, morphemes or grammatical morphemes are limited and are about 200. We have just 200 grammatical morphemes. Lexical morphemes, we have a huge quantity, and it's increasing and increasing and increasing. It doesn't stop, all right? Because through the time, we can create more words related to technology, more words related to science, more words which are learned from other languages. So notice that we are going to create more and more and more nouns, more verbs, more adjectives, more adverbs. But on the other side, the grammatical morphemes, there just has a limit, right? 200, no more. 200. We never meet a new pronoun, a new preposition, or a new article, right? We have, oh yeah, pronouns. We have I, you, we, they, he, she, it. No more. Prepositions, yeah, we have up, to, for, in, and. No, we have a set of prepositions. Or articles, we have the, and. 3 articles. No more. Or the 0 article, no? 4, we call it 4 types of articles, no? The, and, or 0 article. Notice here, notice here they have a set, a limit. We are not increasing more prepositions, more pronouns, more articles. No, just 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 10. It depends on the number of the prepositions or pronouns. And then we have the lexemes are the smallest units of lexicology. And morphemes are the smallest units of morphology. Don't forget, the lexical morphemes are called lexemes. Lexemes. This is what I told you the last session too, no? When you look up a word in a dictionary, all right, if you notice, dictionaries works with lexemes, right? They work with lexemes, the entries, no? The entries, the range of vocabulary of a language, the root words. In a dictionary, you cannot find, for example, goes, no, as an entry, no? Here you have, no, go, and then you have in small letters, no, the different forms of this word, no, goes, went, going. But as a word, you cannot find goes or going or went. Can you find the word went in a dictionary? No, right? You cannot find went or gone. Can you find gone in a dictionary? No, you just find go. And then you have here, as I told you, no, some dictionaries, not all, some dictionaries, you can have the different endings. Oh, go, when, gone, going, no, so they show us. But as a part of the lexeme is go. And notice the lexeme is go. Then you change it to past, went. You're using the grammatical and the lexical morpheme. Both, no? Both. The lexical morpheme, go. The grammatical morpheme, the past simple. So you use went. All right? So that's why here says lexemes are the smallest units of lexicology. They are the entries of a dictionary. On the other side, morphemes are the smallest units of morphology. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, yeah. Here we have the lexical morpheme and the grammatical morpheme. Notice, read is the lexical morpheme. The S that we add is the grammatical morpheme. So, lexical morpheme, it has meaning, read. What's the meaning of read? Action to read, no? To check up something by using your eyes, no? B, it has a lexicological inventory. So it has a place in the dictionary. Notice it has a place in the dictionary. It's unlimited because it belongs to the open class words. No? That's why here it says unlimited, because it belongs to the open class words. By the way, the S that we add, it has grammatical meaning. Time, present simple, person, third person, number, singular. So it indicates time, person, and number. It only has grammatical value, so it doesn't have a place in a dictionary. So you cannot find this S in a dictionary, right? You cannot find it. You find lexemes, no morphemes or grammatical morphemes. It's limited because we have this S. We use the S to talk about third person singular. We use it to talk about plurality. No more. No more. So it's limited. And it is also called limited because it belongs not to a closed class, no morphemes. There are no more. All right, there are no more. So notice the difference between lexical morpheme and grammatical morpheme. Let's see. Let's analyze this table. Morphemes, dog, and house, brother. So you have to tell me they are lexical or grammatical. Dog, lexical or grammatical?
Lexical.
That's it. This is a lexical morpheme, no? This is a lexical morpheme, dog. And lexical or grammatical morpheme?
Grammatical morpheme.
Exactly. This is a grammatical morpheme. Yes. Grammatical morpheme. ER, lexical or grammatical? What is ER? Please, the other ones. What about the other ones? Okay, Lucy, yes. So this is grammatical morpheme again. Grammatical morpheme, ER. Suffix, prefixes. Remember, suffixes, prefixes are grammatical morphemes. House, what about house? Very good, Yolanda, too. Okay, Yolanda, grammatical. House, what about house? Lexical or grammatical morpheme?
Lexical.
Excellent. Very good, very good. House, lexical. Brother. Very good, Yolanda. That's good, Yolanda. Brother, it is?
Lexical too.
Yes, lexical. So notice here the difference between these two kind of morphemes. No? Then we are going to talk about two other types more. Yeah? Lexical, grammatical. Lexical, remember, they have meaning, a definition. Grammatical, they don't have a definition. They carry grammatical meaning. That's why we call them grammatical morphemes, because they carry grammatical meaning. All right? Lexical have derivation. Lexical morphemes have derivation. So we could change that the meaning of a word, or we could change the type of a word. Now remember that. Lexical. They have derivation. Grammatical don't have derivation. We use, no? We use, for example, we use some grammatical morphemes to produce derivation, no? I'm gonna write here an example. I'm going to take into account the example that Diana wrote it in the chat. Here you have the word act, all right? Oh, I'm going to get it smaller. Just give me a meaning. Yeah, here is it. Act, act. We have the word act. Act, notice here, act is a verb. No, act is a verb. I'm going to make it smaller. Yeah. Act is a verb. Now, when we add, notice, when we add the suffix or, yeah, the suffix or, oh, sorry, yeah, the suffix or, actor, no, actor. So we are changing. Now, actor is not a verb. Now, actor, notice, actor, it's a noun. So you change that type of word. You are using here derivation. This is called derivation. When you change the type of word or you change the meaning. Here you are changing the type of word. You are using a lexical. Notice act is a lexical morpheme because it's a verb. And you add, notice you're adding a grammatical morpheme, no, because it's a suffix. Remember, suffixes are grammatical morphemes. So this word is composed by two morphemes, one lexical and the other grammatical. So this grammatical morpheme is used to produce derivation. They don't have derivation, but they produce derivation. All right? The lexical morphemes have derivation. Grammatical morphemes don't have derivation. They produce some of the cases, not most of them. They produce derivations, usually preferable with prefixes and suffixes. No? Another example, happy. I'm going to write the word happy just to finish because the time is getting over. Yeah, happy. Yeah, now I'm going to add, no, this is the example that I gave you before, no? Happy. Now I'm going to add a prefix. I'm going to add the prefix an. Just give me a second. I'm going to change the color. Yeah, an. Unhappy. Notice happy, it's an adjective, all right? Happy, it's an adjective. So here we have adjective. You add an, and it's still an adjective, right? You don't change the type of word, yeah? This is an adjective too, all right? This is an adjective too. So you don't change that type of word, but you change the meaning. Happy, unhappy, not happy. An antonym, no? This is an antonym. Happy, unhappy, antonyms. So you are changing the meaning. So this is called derivation too. Notice, derivation is a process that you are going to change two aspects. The type of word or the meaning of a word from the base word, not the root. Act, a verb. Actor, a noun. What is the root? Act. Happy is the root. You add a prefix. Unhappy, so you change not the type, but you change the meaning. So you're using lexical morphemes. Which are the lexical morphemes? At, unhappy, lexical morphemes. And what are the grammatical morphemes? Or and an. And they produce, notice, they produce derivation. All right? Okay, now we are going to stop here because we have just 1 minute. Next session, we are going to talk about more about this kind of derivational and inflectional suffixes, free and bounds morphemes. And we are going to continue talking about morphemes, and also we are going to talk about the different processes of how to make words, so morphological processes. We are talking about one of them, that is derivation. All right, derivation is one morphological process. Now remember, morphological processes are the processes which help us to create words, to form words, similar to phonological processes. No? Here we have some morphological processes. One of them is derivation, another is suffixation or affixation, prefixation. So this is similar to derivation and a affixation or inflection process. So then we're going to talk about these terms. Well, that's all for today. See you next session. Take care a lot. Take care a lot. Don't miss the class. Yeah, don't miss the class and be on time. Don't forget to be on time, please. That's all for today. Bye-bye. See you next class. Take care a lot.
See you. Good night, teacher.
Good night, good night, good night. Bye-bye, Jolanda. Bye-bye.